Hello again, Misfits. It's time for another 1-minute review, and today we're taking a look at Distilled by Paverson Games. Did you ever want to run a distillery? Because, now's your chance. I know Tom here is all about that. He's long dreamed about running a distillery. Me, whatever. I do like the business aspects of it, though, and that's what really intrigued me about this game, and that's what we're going to talk about. So, guys, this is Distilled. It is a very, very cool game. Now, it is a card-based game with randomity, with a little bit of luck added in, but there's also some economics involved with it as well. Very light economics. And I'll explain kind of as we go. It's I can't really put this in a category because it combines a lot of different things, card play, buying from an area, but it's not really a deck building. It's kind of a little bit of a lot of things. Anyways, so how the game plays is you play, you inherited basically your own distillery. Everybody has different characters that you pick, and they all have their own ability. So that adds an asynchronous, aspect to it. Everybody does kind of their own ability, which I like a lot. The boards, though, are all the same. You just kind of change it up with who you have. Now, each character starts out with different things, and you're basically trying to, obviously, make the best distillery that you can. Now, that's where the interesting part comes in, because the way you do it is different. I haven't really seen a game, I haven't really seen a game that kind of does it this way, and I really like how they designed this. So, you're going to be making your spirits, and how to make spirits is every round you can buy your basic stuff to make spirits here. Eventually you'll get money, and you can buy the more luxurious ingredients here, along with upgrades for your distillery and people to help you out. Well, how you make them, though, is actually relatively simple. You have 3 areas on your board, and you have 3 sections that you need to fill. You need to put at least 1 card each in each of these sections. You have your yeast. You have basically, it's a grain. You have a sugar, and this could be different kinds of sugar. You have plant sugar, you have fruit sugar, and then you have water as well, because you obviously need water involved. You need at least one of each of these things to make one kind of, hooch, more or less. When you make this, for every fruit that you have, you also get an alcohol card, and that's very important, actually, and you'll see why. Once you have everything together, you take these cards, you shuffle them together. Shuffling music. You got shuffling music? We got any shuffling music? No, that's awful. We got to find some non-copyrighted shuffling music, I think, for our videos.
I think if we make funny noises with our mouths, that
you think so?
I think it's fine.
We're
not going to get a copyright strike for that.
Probably not. And so after you shuffled your cards, this is where it gets important. You take the top card and the bottom card out of the stack. These go back into your pile because you have a pantry of stored ingredients. These go back in your pantry. What you make is what you have left here. That's very important, and this is where the aspect of luck comes in. This is the aspect of basically everything of the game, how you make your hooch, but it limits you and also makes you overdo it because you're trying to make specific hooch at certain points. In the beginning of the game, you're making a couple different kinds of hooch, and that is it. You're usually always making, we have our different cards here, but you're going to always start out, we have this upside down. We're brilliant today, guys.
We're brilliant.
We're brilliant. You're always going to start out with vodka and moonshine. That's going to be like some of the first things that you generally make because it generates some income and points for you. For that, you only need one kind of thing. So for like moonshine, you just have to have no sugars. As long as you make something that doesn't have that sugar in there, you made moonshine. If you have a sugar in there, though, you made vodka. Pretty simple. So right here, I did that. I have a water alcohol. There's no sugar in there. Bam, I made moonshine. Now later on, you're going to want to make more complex things, and that's where the interesting part comes in as well, as far as where the risk-reward comes in, because later on, the requirements are going to get tougher. You're also going to have to age your liquor, which adds another aspect to it. So like, for example, here, you'll need sugar, at least one sugar, and that's a fruit sugar at that. And then you have to age it, I think. What is it, an aged barrel on there? You need to age it in a clay barrel. So the requirements, it's clay barrel. So as you go down this list, you have tougher and tougher recipes that need more things. This needs 3 plant sugars and aged. So then you'll be like, okay, well, I got to make this. I need 3 plant sugars. What, can I just get plant sugar? Sure you can. Well, if you only put 3 in there, you do your shuffling, and guess what? You come out with, oh crap, I pulled, that time I didn't, ironically. You pull out your plant sugar. Well, guess what? You didn't make what you wanted. You didn't make your tequila. Too bad, so sad. You have to pick a lesser known variant that you can make with what you have available. Most of the time it's going to be vodka and moonshine because that's bottom of the list. As long as you have anything, you're going to make one of the two. Although you'll have other recipes as you go along, so maybe you get lucky and kind of catch a lower end recipe, but not always the case. So you have that aspect involved. You got a push your luck aspect. Am I going to, go minimalist and throw in what I need, or am I going to put extra in there? So for that recipe, for example, should I throw in 2 more sugars? But that's going to cost me more money and more time to do that because you only have so much you could do in a round. So it adds a risk-reward aspect in there. Not only that, as you go along, when you make stuff, there's only so many tiles because as you make stuff, you're going to get these tiles and you're going to brand it. Like so I made, usually in the beginning, like I said, I just made moonshine. I have my moonshine token here. There's only so many tokens that are available. You'll get that moonshine token, you put it on here, you'll make it. Once you make it, you add up your points, whatever bonuses it gives you. For example, like this, gives me no points because there's no points in the bottom, but it gives me 2 money. So I'll get 2 money out of that. On top of that, you'll get this moonshine tile. And what you do is when you make a tile, when you have a tile, you get to fill up one of these slots at the top, and basically you'll get a bonus for whatever you decide to fill up. And it can be anything. So the most simple one here, you're going to get 5 money or 2 victory points. You put that in the slot, it's used, you get the bonus, call it a day. There are only so many tiles for the higher end Hootch, so those will go quickly if people focus on them. As well, you actually have to pay money in the form of these, because this is kind of, these aren't your money. You pay money to get these, which unlock basically your recipes. So you have 3 tiers of recipes. You have your bronze, your silver, and your gold. So for example, you'll pay 2 to get a bronze to unlock this recipe. So you're not going to have all the recipes available at the beginning of the game. The only ones you have available is vodka and moonshine. So you're going to have to pay money to unlock them with these cubes, giving you access to those other recipes. So you have a lot going on. You're going to be using your money to unlock recipes. You're going to be using it as well to buy better stuff. Now this is where the combos come in now because you're going to be buying stuff. And Tom even had one combo where like you age something and you get bonuses because you age something. Now, if you age something, it sits around out, but it gives the opportunities to get bigger points in the form of flavor cards. They have these flavor cards that get tucked in there every time you age something. And you can actually age it as long as you want. Another risk-reward scenario. The longer you take to age something, the more flavor cards you get. They will add bonuses, like this adds 2 money to it. They'll add bonuses, points, other things that will add up. But the longer you leave it sitting in there, the more you're taking up a slot on your board because you only have 2 slots to age stuff, but also you're not getting points off of it. It's just sitting there, you know what I mean? So again, another risk reward. As you go along, these will filter down, giving you access to new things as it goes along, and then you'll be scoring along this track as the rounds go by. There's a lot going on in this game. I didn't even mention the gold cards. As you go along, you also have gold cards that will give you points based on, it wants aged things, not aged things, but also regions play an important part in this, which blew my mind because I'm like, wow, you're adding another layer to this whole scoring thing. So each character comes from a region, and also each of the things you make can come from a region. And so some of the gold cards are like, you have specific regions. Like this one, you have to be tied for the most North American spirit labels. You know what I mean? It's like you have even a larger depth going in there because you're going to be doing more and more. You're going to be adding more things that you could make on top of regions, and there's a ton to do. And when you're done actually making your stuff, you have to sell it in bottles. You start with a basic bottle, but the bottles come from regions as well. You'll get these special, like this one comes from, I think it's Asia, So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of interesting mechanics at play here. There's card play, but the card play has a ton of depth to it. And, I'm sorry, I forgot the public goals. You even have public goals. There's just a lot. Guys, this game is fun, and it's very deep. It gets very, very deep. It has a push your luck mechanic with card play, with 15 other scoring aspects in this game.
A certain amount of resource management.
Yeah, some resource management. Like there's a ton going on here. First, we'll get to the review here. As far as production values go, this game is very, very well produced. I love everything about this game, from the art to the card stock to the boards. Tom, I think, spiffed for another mat, but
the storage solutions.
Yeah, the storage solutions are great. They have a nice built-in storage solution. They knocked it out of the park with this one, guys. This is great. My only complaint might be that your point markers are ridiculously large. So it's like you have to stack when you get on the same points. It kind of is a little annoying. That's really the only con I could say about it. It's like you could make smaller ones or stackable things. They went all out to making it pretty, and I think that doesn't work for a scoring board, but whatever. The game's gorgeous. It's a very, very pretty game. Hammers home the theme. Every component is great. The gameplay of the game is awesome. I love the fact that you have a push your luck mechanic. I love that you have all these different aspects to scoring. I have the different ways you make your hooch, the different things you could do with it. I mean, I was just finding endless ways to do it. And on top of that, you have a character that might incline yourself to take a different strategy, along with the goals. I mean, there's just a lot going on here, guys, and it is a lot of fun. And they have lots of ways to change things up because you have your randomization not only in the cards, but you have different basically tiles that you put in here that change exactly what kind of hooch you make every game on top of your different characters. There's a lot of playability to this game. This game is really, really fun. And even though like I'm not I'm not a drinker, like I'm a teetotaler, as Tom would call me, but I didn't care. Like I loved the theme. It fit perfectly for what you're doing, and it was an absolute ball. I mean, it just hammers it home, and it's perfect. I give it easily a 4.5 out of 5. I was this close to giving it a 5, but I want to see what more they can do in this game. I think they can definitely add even a little bit more. It's very close though. It's very well, you know. Oh man, the only reason I'm not giving it a 5 is I will say is because the theme will not fit for everybody. Sometimes people will not be too thrilled on the theme, and I'm trying to think from another perspective, from somebody that maybe hates drinking or doesn't get it. That's gonna fall flat for them in that aspect. Maybe they don't care about that.
And you did mention before when we were talking, it might be a little weighty for.
And well, I was gonna get to that too.
Yeah.
This game can be, although when you get it down, it's really not a lot. It really isn't. But just looking at it and just trying to absorb it early on, the iconography, the what you're doing, the strategies especially involved, it could be a bit. It is not a lightweight game by any stretch. Even though it's a card game, it is not lightweight. It is definitely a solid medium weight. I'm not sure if I put it in quite heavy. It's not super it's not managing war here, but it is a solid medium with a little weight emphasis on it because there's a lot of iconography and things to do that are not your typical game. So that also brings it down a notch. For me, it's a solid 4.5. We'll go with 4.5 because it is a lot of fun. But I could see where it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea either for theme or for complexity. So it's not a complete knockout of the park. But dude, these guys are awesome and this game is awesome. I would have it in my collection any day of the week. Add it to your collection is a fun. Like I said, pay attention to those two things. Otherwise, get this game. It is a lot of fun. Okay, guys. Yeah, I mean, it's a knockout. It's a hit. It's been popular, and there's a really good reason for that, guys. Until next time, of course, keep distilling your spirits, guys. As always, don't forget, drink on.